Hey, I found something messed up. Let's watch it.
Hi everyone, you all know me as Sappho, and I wanted to make a video about coming out. Coming out with anything can be very difficult, especially if it's something that society currently views with disgust or is a bit dangerous to even come out with the way that things are right now. And it's a lot
Of course.
like when homosexuals were coming out in the 1960s during Stonewall and those sorts of events. And I know.
So this person is a zoophile, and they are attracted to dogs, German shepherds, actually, to be specific. And they're basically talking out. Basically, they're talking about coming out as a zoophile, and then comparing it to the LGBT community and the gay rights movement, and specifically Stonewall there. And Stonewall was like a major turning point for the LGBT community, with police riots. Police were basically raiding bars and everything like that. So there were riots to try and, promote what is completely normal, no love and acceptance between, consenting human beings. The main point there being human beings. There is no consent between a human and an animal. That's just so mind-bogglingly simple to comprehend. You walk up to a dog and say, "Hey dog, you want to fuck?" And it doesn't do anything. It just sits there because it's a dog. Anyway, but let's continue.
Oh, that
I guess.
99% of my viewers, my community, you don't have anything wrong with homosexuals or gay people.
No.
You support them, you support LGBT, nothing against them. But I guarantee that many of you, even if you can't imagine it now, if you were growing up in the 1960s and were being fed all of the news and social propaganda about how gay people should stay in the closet, how it's unnatural and against nature, and all sorts of crazy shit like that, a lot of you would probably be anti-gay, anti-LGBT. And that's
Probably,
just
yeah.
how it is.
If you were a bigoted asshole who couldn't think for
And
themselves, I would
I
imagine.
respect you all, and frankly, this sort of thing would have leaked out eventually, especially with how cancel culture is these days and other furry drama. There would be people out there that, they want to have a gotcha moment. They want to build their fame and popularity and, expose people. And I'm just not going to give the opportunity for a Sappho exposed kind of video.
I don't think they want to expose you for fame or anything. I think they don't want you committing crimes against animals, abusing animals. Specifically fucking dogs. I think that's where most people would, want you preferably not to do that. Just like most people wouldn't want people to go around killing people, stuff like that. Yeah.
And I would rather suck the air out of the sails of the rant-sonas, and instead of letting this sort of thing build, just be open and honest about myself and my beliefs. And I want to clear the air and say that, for the record, I am a zoophile. You did not mishear that. I am a zoophile. I do not have a thing for humans. I am more attracted to dogs like German shepherds. If you are willing to stay and listen to my view and explanation, that is the point of this video.
Alright, I'll
It is
listen.
to show that there are ethical guidelines It's not so black and white like many furries think that it is.
I don't know, it sounds kind of black and white. It kind of sounds like you're attracted to animals and then you fuck animals. Or it kind of sounds like you don't do that. That's what it kind of sounds like.
And a full explanation as to the way that I think and the way that others think and why. Zoophilia is often very misunderstood, especially because of certain very terrible people and what you may have seen in the news. And someone that I will not mention, if you remember that situation with the zoo sadism leaks a few years back. Unfortunately, when people think of zoophiles, especially furries, that's the person that comes to mind. That is the situation that comes to mind. And I'm talking about horrible abuses. And I'm not accusing a certain individual of anything here, but those leaks showed some truly horrendous people doing awful things to puppies, dead animals, animal gore, and other atrocities that I really wish would have been prosecuted, but unfortunately most could not, either by legal technicalities or so on. And it's a really sore thing for me because I would have liked to have seen justice in that case. I really would have liked to see that justice. But just because somebody was not charged or prosecuted does not mean that they were not guilty of what those videos showed and what those logs showed.
Oh man, could you please get on with it?
I will leave it at that. I couldn't imagine somebody doing that sort of shit to my animals, my mate, my... I can't imagine who would harm...
What the hell, did they just call their own animal their mate? It's just so mind-boggling.
Harm another living being in those ways. And to be 100% clear, I am not like that. Most of the zoo community is also not like that and utterly despises it.
What?
People who force animals into situations they don't want, physically and through other means, are completely deplorable and seen as rapists. Playing with an animal that is not sexually mature is like the equivalent of pedophilia. And
no, most people who fuck animals are considered rapists because you don't know if the animal's consenting to the sexual acts you're, subjecting it to. So I don't... Is where that black and white is coming in? I really don't understand.
And it's treated as such. I do not support those people, and they do not deserve the same title. They're fetishists and bestialists. I do not want them to be the face of the community, and they should not be the face of the community. It's like literal Nazis considering themselves furries in the fandom. You don't want them. We don't want them. We don't want that image to be what people think about. Ethical zoos are not like that. Zoophiles are among the most caring and loving people towards animals and their mates. We see animals as equals to humans, not as property or an object like in the eyes of the law and others. Specifically, I and other ethical zoos follow what's called Zeta principles.
What's that?
Zeta being the Greek symbol, but also standing for zoophiles engagement, for tolerance and acceptance. So if you see that symbol on a furry, that's probably what they're referring to, or they're an ally towards that kind of cause. And those principles are: bestow upon animals the same kindness one would wish bestowed upon oneself. Consider the well-being of an animal companion as important as one's own. Place the animal's will and well-being ahead of one's desires for sexual gratification. Teach those who seek knowledge about zoophilia and bestiality without promoting it. Discourage the practice of bestiality in the presence of fetish seekers. Censor sexual exploitation of animals for the purpose of financial gain, and censor those who practice and promote animal sexual abuse.
Oh. So that's the reason God left us. I don't know, your legs must fucking hurt after that giant leap. Like, it's just... that doesn't make any sense to me. That... all of that completely contradicts itself. The actual act of being attracted and having sex with animals kinda contradicts all of those rules. I mean, how do you know if the animal's consenting? How do you know this? How do you know that?
Zoophiles are not the same as bestialists and fetishists who do not follow those principles. Hypothetically speaking, I would see my partner or my mate as an equal to myself. Everything would be out of love, care, and affection for their wellness and well-being. It would not be to serve myself and my desires. And a lot of people have issues with this sort of thing, which is understandable. I can understand the point of view that others have about my views. The biggest argument, of course, that comes up is about consent and what is that like, right? And they want to compare like apples to oranges. They want to compare a grown, adult, sexually mature animal to like a toddler, basically. Comparing apples to oranges. And in my opinion, it's a bad faith argument. I don't think you can compare a sexually mature animal to a not sexually mature human.
No, I think you can, because you know that thing how animals don't know or speak English or really have a functioning cognitive brain to comprehend things. I think you can make that argument with a little bit of logical deduction. It can be done.
I think it's bad faith. But back to that hypothetical, and my view on it is that if my mate came up to me, loved me, and wanted something more in that moment, why would I deny them?
What? How do you know they want something more? That is such a gross and bizarre image that was put in my head. I'm just gonna keep going.
That need. I want to care for their well-being and help them feel good. At the same time, if the animal is uncomfortable or walks away, that's a no. That's a do not continue. That's a I do not consent. I have a really close zoo friend that can explain more in a non-hypothetical way in the second half
Ew,
of
what the
this
hell do you
video.
mean a non-hypothetical way? I'd really
And
rather not.
This friend has a female German Shepherd mate
That he fucks?
and considers her to be the love of his life.
Yep.
And why
I
am
knew
I
it.
like
In my mind's eye of mind's eyes, I know your deepest, darkest desires. And that, ma'am, is sex with dogs.
this? Well, we can speculate on that. I have always loved animals in this kind of way. Even back when I was 11, that would probably be the earliest that I remember. I always found comfort and love in animals. I would lie down with them for hours, sleep cuddled up with them, and never treat myself as any better. My 2 golden retrievers at the time were my place of safety and comfort. And no, I did not do anything sexual with them. It was something that later on I had always thought about, but I was so ashamed for so long about being the way that I am.
No way.
It caused a lot of mental pain and turmoil. And yes. But recently, after discovering there's other people with similar feelings to me and ideals, it has inspired me enough to have this message. And that would include online resources like the Zooier Than Thou podcast and some other people that I've met through some internet forums.
You're so fucked in the head.
And really what I want to do is to educate people.
Oh, I've been
about
educated
cool.
already.
So this isn't going to be like a super formal thing.
Hey, look, it's
Just
their partner.
more of a casual conversation
This is
for
dumb.
the people that might be curious.
Well, sounds like she likes it rough. I bet she does it doggy style. Hee hee pee pee, the jokes are out of the way. Yeah, that's that.
What do you think about this shit, Penelope? What do you think about this? Alright.